And welcome to the 2019 Stafford Open. My name is Becky Harris, and I'm here alongside my husband, Adam Harris. The 2019 Stafford Open was held in end of September, and it is sponsored by Innova Disc, PDGA A-tier event at Stafford Woods Disc Golf Course in Voorhees, New Jersey. And Adam here was the TD of the event and also the course designer of Stafford Woods. Adam, who are we looking here today on the round one front nine?
We've got Kona Panis, Perendi, Margaret Sassaman, and Finley starting off round one on hole one.
And some of the players to watch on this tournament, Sarah Hokum, Lisa Fakis, Vanessa Van Dyken, Holly Finley, Missy Gannon, and one of the locals, Michelle Frazier, as well.
Here we have hole one. It's a 309-foot par 3 with a couple of very tightly wooded lines that are very, very touchy to hit.
And we're using the B position today, which is on the left side of the fairway. Up first, we have Kona Star Panis, sponsored by Innova Disc. Real nice drive from Kona, just hit a little bit of a tree branch and fell right nice in the fairway.
She's in pretty good shape sitting there, and we have Perendi, sponsored by Discraft.
Reese with a nice release off the tee, but just hit a tree.
We have Margaret Sassaman, a local pro, letting a real good shot go up the local line where A pin is, which is a little bit wider lane, sliding just inside circle one.
Great shot from Margaret. And finally up, we have Holly Finley, who is sponsored by Team Innova. Throws a great drive right straight down the middle. Should have a nice easy putt from there.
That's a great shot up the inside lane. It's a lot tighter, but more direct to the basket.
And Maurice has a nice easy pitch out, which should lead her a nice easy shot right up to the basket. And it looks like Maurice is throwing again, and she's throwing a forehand. Gets around the trees really nicely, just tickles a little bit at the end, but should have an easy putt.
Looks like Kona's outside of the circle with a little bit of trees in the line, laying it up nicely. That should be a good tap in for a par.
And Holly has a great look at a putt for a birdie here. Has a real nice upshot, easy tap in.
Margaret for the birdie inside of circle one.
Just misses it. But it's a really great drive. It's really hard to get up there for a nice inside the circle putt. And Maurice lining up and makes her putt.
Finishing out for a bogey. Tough way to start the day.
Holly with her putt. Nice, solidly in the basket. Looks like all the rest of the ladies should very easily make their putts.
Kona's in. Looks like Margaret's in. Just a few feet.
Yeah. It looks like after the first hole, Kona, Margaret, and Holly all par at 3, and Maurice gets a bogey. And on hole 2, we have a 509-foot par 4. This is one of my favorite holes on the front nine, actually, because you can attack it at several different ways. I know off the tee, for me, I like to throw a mid-range, but others actually like to throw a drive. So it really depends on how you want to attack the hole, and it's definitely a good risk-reward hole. So up first, we see Kona with a really nice forehand. It just hits a tree, but she's luckily right in the fairway.
Then we have Margaret coming up. Well, that looks like a good line. This shapes up really well for a slight turnover for a backhand righty to lay up in the middle of the fairway. And then we have Holly coming up on her drive.
Again, with another nice turnover shot. Again, still lands in the fairway, which should set her up for a nice second shot.
Maurice up on the drive. Well, that's turning over good. Nice and late shot. That should finish well. That's a really, really good drive.
Yeah, for a righty, you can get a real nice S-turn. For a lefty, you just want to kind of throw just a nice straight shot up the middle and land in the fairway. And Kona here had a great second shot, just hit a tree and landed in the fairway, so she should have an easy shot up to the basket for a par.
Holly lining up her second shot. She should have a backhand right turnover here. Looks like it's finishing nicely around in the direction of the basket around the corner. That's a really well played line. And
Margaret is doing, looks like maybe a little patent pending. Trying to get a backhand to turn over to the right. Oh, looked great out of the hand. Unfortunately, hit a tree in the fairway.
We've got Kona. She's just right edge of the fairway. Looks like she's setting up for a forehand. A little early right.
And Maurice with a forehand. And that was a great shot that she had.
It's going to leave her outside of the circle for her long birdie putt there. And Margaret is... hit early.
Yeah.
She's going to find it difficult over there.
One thing I love about Stafford is the fact that any time of year there's always greenery, whether it's the holly trees or the many laurel trees in the woods. It's something that's really nice that you can enjoy all throughout the year. And Maurice was making her long putt. Just misses.
Looks like Holly's lining up.
Just
a
bit.
Little high, a little right.
Kona looks like she has a little bit of a turnover putt that she's going to try to need to make.
Made the smart play there.
Mm-hmm.
Put it out for the easy drop in.
Yeah, that right side of the fairway by the basket is really tough to get through. Oh, just misses.
Little left.
I loved how her disc matches her outfit too. Sure Margaret won't be happy with that, missing the putt. But there's plenty of golf left.
Holly knocks it in. Looks like we've got a few lining up for their cleanup tap-ins before they move over to hole 3.
I know Kona this year switched up her putter. She's been putting with a Firefly, which she's really enjoyed and felt it's really, improved her consistency with putting, and I like to see that. And Maurice is from Europe. I think Estonia, actually.
I believe that's correct.
And she actually came over for the U.S. Women's Disc Golf Championships and drove up to play Stafford Open. So it was really nice to have a couple people from overseas come and play the event.
And here we have hole 3, which is a 313-foot par 3 over the pond. And then on the back side of the pond, there's a little bit of a hill that you need to crest before a righty would hyzer in towards the basket. And here's Holly lining up with her drive.
It's a real nice, easy righty hyzer shot, just over the water, and you just want it to let it naturally fade, and it should set you up for a nice, easy birdie. And Kona with her drive. Oh, that hits a tree on
near side of the pond. It looked like.
Of the pond. Hopefully, she did not go in the water. And Maurice lining up for her drive.
Also early left near side of the pond.
So on hole 3, actually, if you do go in the water off your drive or actually off any shot, there is a drop zone specifically that you will have to rethrow from.
Looks like Maggie snuck through. That should be pretty close to a decent putt there.
And actually hole 3 this time is an elevated basket. So usually it's at regulation height. However, this basket is elevated to create just a little bit more of a challenge. And I think Maurice tried to Wanted to get it just a little bit higher, but unfortunately dug it in the sand a little bit.
It appears Kona was dry on the near side of the pond and has a forehand shot over that hill on the back side of the pond. She plays that up pretty well, leaving herself a good putt.
Yeah, great recovery. I like Maurice's variety of throws because she throws backhand, forehand, and she was going for that.
That was a really well played shot over that mound of dirt. Holly putting it up, putting herself in good position here for the elevated basket. Maggie's lining up for her birdie putt. Just off the front rim.
Having an elevated basket and sometimes this position can be a little bit windy, so it does create a little bit more of a challenge when a basket is elevated. And if you miss, sometimes you can go long and you could have an even longer comeback putt.
And this one is fairly elevated. As the ladies get a little closer, you'll see just how tall this one is. We don't do it very often over here in New Jersey, but every now and then we break out this basket and put it up for a special tournament. And for this particular hole, we thought it would help increase the scoring spread.
Holly with her putt. After 3 holes, Holly is sitting nice at even par. And I think even par on this layout is a 950 rated?
It's generally around a 950 to 960, depending upon how much the wind is blowing and how badly the OB affects the fairways. Fairly regularly, it's 950 to 955 for a par. There's Maggie tapping in, and you can see the basket's pretty much over their heads. And here we have hole 4, which is a 558-foot par 4 that is essentially 2 righty hyzer approaches. The drive narrows off into a very tight landing zone, and then again, right over the person in blue, it's a righty hyzer shot coming into a well-protected green underneath of the pine trees. And here's Holly on her drive.
Yeah, for a righty, you really want a drive just like that. You want it to go nice and straight and hyzer out nice at the end, just in the middle of the fairway, and it'll leave you a nice, easy second shot. And here's Margaret on her drive off the tee of hole 4. Margaret has so much snap in her throw. You can hear it 3 holes away, and she just gets so much distance.
Also putting herself in good shot position, and here is Maurice.
Very nice shot off the tee. Again, nice and straight. Just let it hyzer. I feel like if you can just get a drive, nice and straight off the tee, it's really about the second shot on this hole.
A lot of the holes at Stafford we have intentionally laid out as placement shots. This one is one that particularly when you stand on the tee, it looks like it is a distance shot, but it's more about accuracy and placement, so you have a better line in for your second shot, as all these ladies just demonstrated.
And just like Maurice did, you really want to kind of have it lean more towards that right side of the fairway for it to be able to come into kind of this nice little protected green area. I think this is one of the prettiest greens on the course. And here's Holly setting up for her second shot. Again, another great shot. Hopefully it'll get a little skip, but it just hit a tree and she should have a nice long putt from there. Definitely very birdie potential.
Here's Margaret coming in. And she looks like she's played here before and got through and should leave herself a nice putt.
Just outside the circle. And Kona setting up. Very nice
That looks
release.
real good. That looks really good. Well played. Should be leaving herself 25, 30 foot for a birdie.
And again, even where Holly is, it's still definitely a birdieable attempt. You can make a long putt from there. And one thing I really like about Holly is that she has a very consistent routine before she throws and before she putts.
Here we have Maris lining up. Great putt.
Nice.
That is
birdie.
a beautiful birdie on a very, very well played hole.
She executed that well. And we have a Gatekeeper rewind. Check that out. Nice. That's a nice jump putt that she had.
You can see Kona looking around the tree behind her, eyeing that go in. That's really nice as she gave the sportsmanship clapping her competitor.
Here's Margaret for her birdie putt.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Nice long putt. Another great birdie.
Again, on this hole, with two really well executed shots, you can have a great shot for a birdie. Just missing a little bit. I know for me on this hole, I throw driver and then driver. Do you throw driver off the tee and then driver for a second shot as well, Adam?
Well, we're both lefty backhand, so I'm throwing something a little different than the ladies. I'm throwing something flippy like a shrike, and depending upon how much distance I get, I might be in distance of a rock on a nice turnover gliding shot or a sidewinder. All right, looks like we're tapping in there. Holly's played a very clean round, all pars. Here we have hole 5, which is a par 4. This is a new fairway this year. The left side is 564 feet, and there is OB all the way down the left, all the way down the right, and you can see the OB stakes behind the basket.
So the original tee, you can see is straight ahead on the right side of the fairway, but this year there's a brand new tee. So what you want to really do, unfortunately Margaret threw it a little bit too wide, is you kind of want to throw it over the out of bounds and let it naturally come back in, because on that left side, it does kind of slope down to the left a little bit. So you can see Maurice on her drive right here, she kept it low and made sure she landed right in the middle of the fairway.
That was a very well played shot.
And I think this hole had quite a bit of headwind too this year, so you really wanted to have good disc selection and make sure you land inbounds.
Holly did the same thing. You can tell 2 touring pros played it low to keep the wind a non-factor, and so the disc wouldn't hyzer to the left side of the fairway. Looks like Kona's done the same thing.
We have our volunteer.
Beautiful shots.
Yeah, we have our volunteer Brian Cox right there on hole 5, making sure it's in or out. And on hole 5, you play out of bounds where it went out, so that's why Margaret is throwing from there. But unfortunately, she turned her disc over a little bit and went out of bounds again.
This looks like she's throwing her 5th.
Great release. Just landed out of bounds again. This hole can be a really tough hole. It could be a good scoring separation hole too.
This hole can definitely take a bite out of you, because it isn't just narrow enough that if you want to really lay into it for distance, it gets really tight really quick.
And Holly lining up. Turns over real
good.
Nice. Fades a little bit, and she should have a good putt from there.
That's a really smart play, as the basket is tucked into the trees on the right side, and if you hit one of those early, it leaves you well outside the circle and short.
And as you can see, there's definitely a variety of shots. We saw Maurice and Kona both throw forehand, and Kona should have a nice putt from there, from where she landed.
Yeah, she's looking really good for the birdie there.
Maurice lining up again, forehand. Got a little bit more height this time. Should be able to have a nice putt from there.
Skips it in well. Skips it in well.
And there's actually OB that circles around the entire basket too.
Yeah, it's all the way down the left and right and wraps around behind. This is a very tricky green when it's windy, because it's usually playing into a headwind. Looks like Margaret's hyzered it under the basket. Holly laying it up. It's a smart play there. That tree's a little early. You hit that and you have a...
Great putt by Maurice.
Great putt.
And par is a very good score on this hole, considering the distance of the hole, the wind that plays, and the OB.
I believe this is Kona for her 3.
She's going to have to straddle a little bit to avoid that tree.
All right.
Great putt. And that's a birdie. This is a tough birdie, and Kona managed to do it with 2 great shots.
There's Margaret finishing out her hole.
Makes the putt. So as you'll see here, after they putt out, that this is definitely one of the holes that can create the scoring separation. With Kona getting a birdie, unfortunately Margaret going out of bounds. As you can see, the scores range from 3 to 8, and that's how this hole can play.
That's definitely how it was intended to play. And here we have hole 6, which is a 571-foot par 4 OB all down the right side. As you can see, the white stakes where the tall grass is. And then the basket is raised up on an elevated green that is built in to prevent erosion with the railroad tie walls and steps. And the OB wraps around behind that over to the edge of the park fence on the left-hand side.
Here we have Kona lining up. And a great shot that she had. For righties, you almost want to hug the right side of the line a little bit, because if you fade too far left, then you're going to be in the woods and it's going to create yourself a tougher second shot.
Here's Maris. She threw it low so she would keep it in the short grass and not hyzer into the trees. Looks like she's playing this with a lot of purpose.
Holly lining up. Great drive by Holly.
Looks like it took a skip off the short grass into some of the trees.
Right on the edge. Margaret Sassaman lining up. And
wow.
Boom, she has such distance and almost hits the cameraman.
Right
Watch out. I would have given her $5 if she hit the cameraman. And here's Marie's lining up for her second shot. And again, this is a hole that you can also birdie. If you have a nice first shot in the fairway and you can get a nice second shot up there and land just at the bottom, just like she did, she will have a real nice look at a birdie. So Holly did squeak in just a little bit in the woods. Hopefully she'll have a line out, which looks like she does.
The locals cleared out those trees this past year so that if you're in there, you have a shot out, but there is some certainly much tighter lines coming out of those trees on the left side. And this is Kona lining up for her forehand, which is how this hole really opens up. It's a little wider on the left side coming in. And she played it really well, landing up on one of the tiers. That's a fantastic shot.
Mm-hmm. And even the second shot is a tough shot because usually there's wind that is coming in off to the left. So you have to really play your second shot wisely and even your putt because it is an elevated pin. Great shot.
That's a great shot. With just a little bit of wind in the elevated pin, and the wind's usually coming off the field that we can see from the left towards the green, has a tendency to lift Holly's putt well off the back.
And Maurice went for it too, for the birdie. I think if you're right there and you are confident enough with your putt, it's definitely one you want to go for. Just like where Margaret is right here. This is one you definitely want to go for to make your birdie. Which she executes.
Very, very good recovery after the last hole.
Yep. Sometimes after you take a big number, it can get in your head and it might mess with you a little bit over the next couple holes or even the whole round for some people. But Margaret was able to execute that birdie. It was a great job.
So you can see the plaque on the wall here. Don Sauce Kane is the world MTA record holder, was a local who lived only a few miles away from here, and we dedicated the wall to him shortly after his passing last year.
It looks like Kona had her birdie. Maurice putting out for par along with Holly. And we will be right back after this short break. All right, and welcome back to the 2019 Stafford Open. We are here at hole 7, 300-foot par 3. This is the second water shot of the course. This one is, I like this one. It is risky because you almost have to go through goalposts, just like Kona did, and you have to get it over the water. It's probably, about 280 feet to reach the other side?
Depending upon how high the water level is, 265 to 285. Here we've got Margaret lining up her shot, and she looks like she's going to hit. Going to hit that triple tree, but she's safe. So that would be a pin right there that they're in, and the water is inside of circle 1 there.
Maurice for her drive. Oh, skips off the water and is safe. Yeah, you really need to execute your drive well on this hole to be able to make it through the initial set of trees and over water. So you see Holly here, she is laying up, and you can see the short tees right there. So if you can lay up at the short tee or just in front of it, you'll have a nice, easy putter shot or mid-range shot over the water to get a nice, easy 3. Lands just over the water. Should give herself a good, easy par putt. Maurice had a tough shot. She kind of had to angle around a couple trees.
We've got Kona down by the water. She's going to have to hyzer it up, leaving herself for a good tap in for the par.
Margaret looks like she's straddle putting. Get around that tree right there on the left side of the basket. Nice putt.
Great birdie.
That is 2 birdies in a row.
That was really, really good to pick herself up from the hole 5.
Just missed. And now she has what we kind of call the comeback putt, because right behind you is the water. So if you do go too far long, you do have a chance of landing in the water with an OB stroke.
That's a great putt because she's staring at chains and water right behind it.
That was
good
a great
comeback
recovery.
putt. Looks like we've got cleaning up here for the pars.
I like this short pin. I find it's a riskier shot because in the B pin that's a little bit longer, you're really just throwing all you got. Whereas here you almost really do need a finesse shot and you want to make sure it lands well. But here we have hole 8, a 355-foot par 4. It goes straight and then a dogleg left. Again, this is one of those holes too where you can decide whether or not you want to throw a nice simple mid-range straight up the hole, place it right at the dogleg turn and have another simple upshot. Or if you want to throw a driver to get some skip and leave yourself a potential chance for even an eagle, you could do so. And we have Margaret for her drive. It looks like she threw a driver off the tee, which gets around so nicely and just skips up right in the middle of the fairway. That's exactly what you want off the tee.
This is a very tight tunnel off this hole, and we've got Kona lining up. She looks like she's down the lane, and she's also skipping around the corner. 2 excellent drives.
Mm-hmm. And Maurice for her drive off the tee, nice and flat and low, just hits a tree. Again, you have to be very accurate off the tee.
Holly just throwing it right down the middle again and skipping around the corner. Those are some excellent drives. That lane is only about 10 feet wide for the first 200 feet. Here we have Maurice throwing a high hyzer around. Looks like it caught something up high.
Holly for her second shot. Again, nice easy setup for a birdie. Goes and skips.
Well played.
Yep.
This is another one where the green is protected and you want to approach it in from the right side because there's probably a 20 to 24 foot gap between those trees, which Kona just squeaked by. She's looking at another birdie.
Margaret for her second shot. Kept it a little low and unfortunately hit a tree. Looks like she was a little disappointed with that. Jump putt from Maurice to leave her a nice, easy birdie.
That was a really smart layup there. Margaret with the hyzer putt under the basket. Kona off the front rim. That's a tough one.
Mm-hmm. Nice putt.
Well played hole. Very well played hole by Holly.
And that's how you do it, to get a birdie. Nice shot down the tight fairway. Simple upshot, even with a little bit of skip. In for a 3.
Holly's putting together a pretty good round here. She's playing very clean, which is the name of the game here.
She likes the wooded golf, though. I prefer wooded golf, too, over open holes. But that's just me, to each their own. Margaret makes a nice, easy par putt. I got to play with Maurice at this tournament, and I was able to talk to her as well at Women's Nationals, and she is such a lovely person to talk to, and it was great to see and watch different style golf. You know, different countries have different elevation, different trees, you know, and it was really great to watch her play. And on hole 9 here, one of the tightest holes on the course, a par 3, 301-foot hole. It is almost a poke and hope, but it is definitely manageable for a 2.
It is a very, very tight finesse shot that, as a designer, is my homage to Tyler State Park. There are multiple lines on this hole. They're just really tight and really, really tough to hit. Here's Margaret throwing a turnover. She's playing it up the outside line, which is a little bit safer, but it's really tough to get a birdie from the outside line. She's outside of circle 1, maybe circle 2's edge. And here's Kona lining up. And she took the inside turnover line. And that's how you do it. Very, very excellent drive there.
And Maurice throwing a forehand. Oh, just hits a tree. A little too straight. But she's essentially, that's the short tee fairway, the whole left side of the fairway. So she should have a nice shot up towards the basket, which she is right under. So a nice easy 3 from there.
Here's Holly from the left side. She's got a low ceiling over there. Lays it up very nicely.
Easy 3.
Margaret also on the left side. A lot of low hanging holly branches that like to catch trees and can slow your disc down. And she's also laid it up.
Kona with the jump putt.
Looks like that branch was in her mind. Margaret missing the par putt just a little bit. Finishing in for bogey. Looks like the other 3 are under the basket for tap-ins, and we are completing the front 9 here at Stafford Woods on the 2019 Stafford Open.
One thing I like about this course, too, is that each 9 loops back around towards the parking lot. So, you know, you can stop, go to the bathroom, get water, food, anything you need. All right, so after the first 9 holes, looks like Holly Finley shooting even, Kona Panis 1 over, Maurice Perendi 2 over, and Margaret Sassaman 4 over. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you for the round 1 back 9 coverage. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.